Welcome to Be Your Own Motivation, the podcast about fitness and healthy lifestyle.
Hello, and welcome to our podcast. As you can see, we are both here together today because we are coming to you live from Ibiza. So before we get going on the rest of our podcast, let's talk about your results, Tanya. So obviously you came first in the elite race. So how did you find it? How was the course? How was the venue? Like, what did you think?
Well, first of all, just to get you know, it was outdoor, so it was out in the sun. Happy enough, we had sun here. On the day itself, it was very windy, so it was pretty cold in the morning. For the start, we had to start in the afternoon, so it was like a mix of wind and warm, and yeah. But actually, it was a pretty good place. It was a nice place, a nice arena. People could come close to shout for you, to cheer for you. So that was really nice. Quite similar like in Tenerife last year. And yeah, it went pretty well. So I got first. Thanks for mentioning. It's the first race actually for me that I was almost all race first place. I mean, since the second zone, I was first place. So that was quite stressful. It was the second time ever that happened. Usually I'm chasing the others. So if you are in the front, you have that double pressure, like, where are they? You don't see them really. It was a 2-leg course, so you could not really see, are they far behind or not, to not like lose any time. And yeah, I did everything I could, and I am so happy that it worked out until the end. So I could get a little lead to get into the last station, which is important for me because obviously that's not my greatest station. And yeah, happy enough it worked out. A little sunburn on the shoulders, but it's pretty bright. There were worse people there. And yeah, that's it for the fit race. So it was actually a very strong races there. So there were a lot of the good elite peoples out there, in both in men and female. So yeah, it was pretty strong, and I'm happy I made it. And I got below a 36 back again. Yeah, that's it. And how was your race? You were in the early morning in the cold wind.
Yes.
So it was
Yes.
like a little bit different because we had already more warm sunshine in.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So myself and one of the other UK crew, Simon Carr, we started off in the 8 minutes past 8 wave, and when we got there it was freezing, so half of the sort of venue was in shade and half was in sun. So we were freezing, we were literally like shivering in our hoodies before whilst we were warming up. But actually I really liked the course because having just done Malaga a few weeks ago, that was 4 laps. So this was obviously much easier to remember, much easier to count, and obviously you could get into a good pace on the long strides. Rather than the short laps with more corners. This had a nice long straight and then a nice, back straight.
Yeah.
So
it was like day and night.
Yeah.
Those two together was day and night. Yeah, definitely.
So that was good.
Yeah.
The only thing I found difficult was on the first straight was running into the wind. It was quite a bit windier in the morning. Well, actually, it was windy all day, to be fair. So it was quite hard running into the wind on that straight.
Because it takes more energy.
Yeah. So yeah, but I got my second quickest time, so I'm really happy with that. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was the first time I've done an outdoor venue.
Oh yeah, true.
So I hadn't done an outdoor one before, so that was really cool to experience that. And but yeah, the weather definitely played a part because obviously it was going from hot to cold. So yeah, that was an interesting experience. And I definitely would do an outdoor one again. I think I did really enjoy that.
That's what I was about to ask. As it was your first time, also, I mean, the flooring was so different.
Yes.
How was it for you? Did you like it? Do you think it is harder? Do you think it worked well with your shoes?
Yeah, I mean, actually, because we were all a bit worried. There was quite a few people out from the UK, and we were sort of unsure, would it be slippy? Would it not be slippy? But actually, like, my trainers were fine. They had the little, the little black bits in. Help keep it sort of not slippy.
Yeah.
Okay. The only bit that was a bit slippy was where the tanks were. So as other people might know who have done outdoor ones, the tanks are usually in a sort of separate section. that bit was a bit slippy because it was kind of sandy, like gravelly.
Yeah. Actually, I felt that on my second race. On the first with my shoes, I didn't felt slipping there. But then on the second one, I was trying to move it, and I was just like slipping away all the time. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So but yeah, other than that, the grass. I mean, I had a good race on the grass. I know some people perhaps didn't get their best time. But yeah, for me it was fine. I enjoyed running on it. It didn't cause me any problems personally. And yeah, I got my second quickest time. So I think it was the 2 laps definitely made a difference mentally as well. I think not having to count as many times, knowing that once you've gone round once, you're in, plays a massive part mentally, because you know, actually, okay, I'm going in on the next one.
And for me, for example, I can focus more what's the next station coming versus what we did in Torremolinos was just counting and nothing else, and you could not focus on anything. And here with the 2 laps also, even though 1 lap feels so much longer, especially because we had that crazy jump now from 4 laps to 2 laps. So at some point when my legs were burning, it was like, it's long, and then against the wind every time. I mean, it was definitely a bit harder than in Tenerife. Like I did Tenerife. Also, first of all, from the wind, even though Tenerife it was warmer, it was still like this felt like it was somehow longer, whatever, because I was definitely fitter now, I would say, than I was back then. So, and my time is like a little bit less good. So yeah, I would think it was somehow slower due to the setup probably. And and then you did the teams as well.
Yes. So I did teams with Lee. Just a super quick shout out to the UK guys who did really well, by the way. So we had Liz, who came first in her age group in 70 to 74.
Yeah.
We had
amazing
Lee, who came first in 50 to 54. And then we had Simon, who I mentioned earlier. He came second in 55 to 60. Yes, that is correct. And then Mimi did her first elite race, which was brilliant. She managed to keep up with the top half of the pack. So like
the first wave.
The first wave. So that was really great. Like the English crew did really, really well. So
definitely.
Big shout out to them.
You took the medals away.
Yeah, they did really, really well. So yeah, that was really nice to see, and being able to support everyone and cheer everyone on. Teams was cool. There was a lot of female teams. There always is a lot of female teams, right?
Yeah, but it was. I believe it was more starting race. Like usually, it felt like especially in female, there were so many. Yeah.
So it's quite. I mean, you know what teams is like, right? It's quite fast and furious. Like it's good fun. For anyone out there that's done one, that's watching, like knows it is really good fun.
Yeah. Definitely.
So yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. I mean, I was very lucky. My partner Lee, she's faster runner than me, took on lots of the running. So I was able to smash through some of the stations. So that was a nice experience. Not being as strong a runner, I quite liked just doing the stations. So that was good. But I enjoyed it. Like really enjoyed the teams. And then so that was my 2 races. But obviously you did mine as well. So that was so much later in the evening, right?
Yeah. But first of all, would you think for the teams, if you look at the running, would you think it is better to have 3 laps because you can split it up and you can go probably faster? Or do you think it's better if one at a time is, you know, everybody does every time 1 lap usually then, if it's just 2 laps? Or do you think the other one is faster?
So I think the 2 laps works great if you've got a faster runner.
Yeah.
So like in my case, you know, Lee is about a minute or just over a minute quicker than me on each run.
Okay, yeah.
But I think it depends really, I guess, as well, what your partner wants to do, right? So we agreed that, you know, our game plan was she's a stronger runner. It doesn't make sense.
She would do more running.
To lose a minute for me to do a lap or a double lap. But actually, when it's 3, I agree. I like being able to give that person, the other runner, a rest. And I think it does make a difference to be able to split that.
Yeah, actually, that makes sense. If you have 1 stronger runner and 1 better at the station, the 3 laps works better, I believe. And I didn't do teams now, but I just did it once in World Championships when we had 2 laps. And I feel if you're pretty equal on the running, I feel it's pretty good. You know, to just, you have a longer rest and you can go more in the stations if you split it quite equal. But if it is like 1 is better in the stations, 1 is better in the running, yeah, it's better they do 2 laps, you do 1
Yeah.
lap in a 3-lap course. Yeah, definitely.
I
That
think
makes sense.
also as well, because in the 2-lap course, I'm definitely faster on a 160 lap than
yeah,
on a
100%.
250
Yeah,
lap.
100%.
Yeah.
That's how I felt like in Torremolinos when we did 2 laps each because it was 4, and every time when I came on the second one, I was gassing out.
Yeah.
I was slowing down already. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the difference as well. Yeah, the speed drops in the longer one. Yeah.
So I think the lap count definitely determines the game plan, how you're going to split it, and
definitely.
what percentage of running you will or won't do. So yeah, that definitely plays a part. But how did you find the mile?
Yeah, I mean, we had some trouble in the mile, so the outcome was, I mean, I know I would have done my best ever mile since I did the first one, because I was very surprised. My legs were pretty good from the start on, and then a lot of small things went wrong, which can be wrong. A lot of people out there, like slower, faster, so that's okay to lose some seconds in such a big event. So I would not throw anything on that one. But yeah, it was the problem that I came on the bike. I was almost seeing no free bike, and then there was one at the end of the area. It was one free, so I got that one, and I was happy enough. I was the first of our wave coming in, and then the second guy who came in got no bike, so he had to wait for a bike. Then Mimi came in. She had to wait a second for a bike as well.
Yeah.
And then on station 8 it was fine, and then on station 9, yeah, that was just, it threw me away. But I mean, you're almost done. You have those sprints in between. I still felt like I can push on the short runnings, which is usually not my strength. And then I came in the tank, and I was worried because I saw the situation in bike, and I was so worried about it would happen in the tank, and then it really happened. And it was not that one was about to finish, but they would just keep on going, and I was of course freaking out in that situation because I felt I do really good time right now. So I'm usually like nice in around competition or whatever, but if you're in it and you want to secure your spot for world championships, it's just another level. It's just like another stress.
Yeah.
And I was extra here to do the mile. I mean, I extra took the last ticket from you to get in for the mile because I had to drop out on Torremolinos due to the injury. And yeah, so it was just like, and then it went on. I stopped my watch by not wanting to stop it. I just want to return it so that I would see the time. And it was around like 35-40 seconds, so which is too long for mile. It is too long for all of these formats, but in mile, I mean, that's like more than a run nearly. So my runnings were like around 35 seconds to maximum 40 seconds, so that's a full lap. You're waiting just there. And yeah, so and then I want to push the tank, and then when the handle was wrapped around the tire, and so it was just, that station has never been so bad. And you see it in my timing, it's bad as well. And then I was out of it, and I was like, oh fuck, I need one more run. I always wanted to stop it there because I was so out of just of my mind game. And yeah, still it became not the worst time I've ever had, but yeah, of course, I mean, 35 to 40 seconds is too much. It is the difference of maybe getting in for elite or just doing age group again, you know. And so, and it was not only me, it was just happening for several people then in our wave, and probably and also the wave after us. So there were 2 more waves after us. Yeah, it is just sad. It should not happen. I mean, usually it's everything is well organized. It was in the past, and it's just, you know, if you come extra for it, you take all the money in to take all the travel, and you want to focus. I extra said no to all the teams. First of all, due to my food, I didn't want to make it worse. And I thought, oh, then I have one time ever really a 5 to 6 hour break in between both races, so probably I can recover, I can go good. And it really worked. So because in the afternoon my legs were just like they were burning. I couldn't go any faster in that race anymore, and then I was happy I could recover for the evening. and then those things happened. So that was just like, yeah, it was just something in your face, like I was so good in it, and then it's throwing me out. So yeah, it's a bit sad story. And I mean, Mimi was in my wave starting. Like I said, she had to wait on. It was her first on mile on the event. She did a mile before, but like in this event
in Spain.
So yeah, it was also a bad experience for her.
Yeah.
You know, when it is your first time ever you do it, and this happens, it's quite frustrating. And it's not, you go home with a not so good feeling.
And it's a shame, isn't it? Because like you said, every second counts.
Every second counts.
Fighting for a potential world championship spot, right? So, you know, like you said, you can't afford to be waiting 30 to 40 seconds for
even 10 seconds is too much.
Exactly.
Like, and this was just like one full length of tank for and then back, because you see my end time, if you take my average, it's exactly like 35 to 40 seconds more than I ever took before in that station. So it's just like 20-meter tank, like if I would have pushed 6 times, you know, so it's too much.
So yeah, it's a shame that happened. It's a shame that it ended on that note, you know, after the high of the elite race. It's a shame that that's how the mile ended. So but yeah, I mean, sometimes these things are out of our control, aren't they? And you just there's nothing that you can do. But yeah. Okay, well, congratulations anyway on the elite race. Obviously, that was a great
your
result.
second best time ever as well.
Thank you.
For your single race.
Thank you. Yeah. So I guess that kind of leads us nicely really into the topic of the podcast.
Yes.
Which is, how do we fit everything in? And, you know, I'm sure there's loads of people out there racing as well that feel exactly the same. How do you fit everything in that you want to do? So, I mean, I know for me personally, I have a 9-to-5 job. So in terms of training, apart from the weekends, of course, when I can train whenever I like, Monday to Friday, it's either morning or afternoon. And I know obviously there's a lot of people that are in the same position. So it's, you know, fitting it all in. So training, it will either be in the morning or the evening. I kind of personally think about my schedule, what I've got going on in the week. So for example, if I have a sports massage booked in the evening, I would do that training session in the morning. Or if I was going to meet a friend for dinner or something, again, I'll do that session in the morning. So I try and plan everything in at the start of the week, so I know what I'm doing, when my sessions are going to be, because to me, everything's equally as important, right? Like, my sessions are important, so is my job, so are my friends. So it's just trying to make sure that, just really plan carefully to make sure I can actually fit everything in. And then obviously it's similar for you when you're teaching, of course, because class timetables have to work to the people like me who can do morning or evening, right?
Yeah, right. But I mean, it is different, because for you, it has to be a planning. I mean, if you just go empty in the week and you just, how is my day going? And you know, you will lose it. It will work probably for a few weeks and you would lose it, because you have no structure in it. And I have been there before. I had a job where I worked 7 to 5 or 8 to 5. It depended on, like, we had different breaks in different jobs I did. So I was there as well. And I, in one job, I, for example, could do 2 hours of break for lunchtime, and I would just take my run always there. So it was too short to drive to a fitness studio or something, but it was always, you just take your shoes on, you switch your clothes, and we had a shower. So we had a shower. We had that privilege. We had a shower in the office, which a lot of people don't have, like, especially in Luxembourg, most people don't have. So that was pretty great back then, so years ago. And now it is completely different. I cannot really plan it. I try always to plan it, like, at least to fit the important things in, like when my running is and those things. So the must have done training sessions. But as every day is different, even over the week, usually the class schedule is the same. But Monday is different than Tuesday, you know, like every day is so different. So sometimes I would have a class in the morning at 9, or a client. Sometimes the whole morning is full, and then you're tired after teaching the classes. Even you put there a run, but you have sometimes the days where it took you too much energy. You know, because you're speaking all the time. You have, I mean, like, I had a lot of choreo-based classes, so I had to do every rep riff. So sometimes there were just days my body was tired after it. Sometimes there were days there was no problem. I could just go for a straight run after it.
Yeah.
So it is always a little bit switching. And it happened for me a lot of times that when I didn't found energy in my 2-3 hours break, which was usually somewhere in the after lunchtime. So usually the most free times was usually between 2 and 5.
Okay.
When I'm teaching classes, because class is in the morning or lunchtime or evening.
Yeah.
And
okay.
evening it starts at 5:30, usually the earliest. So
Right.
usually it's like this afternoon, and then I had some clients that's always changing when you have a client. So
yeah,
it was usually that break, but sometimes in that break for eating, for resting,
Yeah.
you know. And so how it came several times that I would just take a run at the evening at 10 p.m. or
Yeah.
even later, or a training session. So I'm happy we had the last 3 years now. Some fitness studios, they open 24 hours, even it's not the best one. It's not places where you can really have all the stuff you need.
Yeah.
But at my home gym, I could not go after 10 p.m. because it's not allowed to make noise. So
Yes.
I could not use my own. So I would need to drive. So sometimes it's really tricky. But on the best day, you can organize it. You take your run there, and then you do your workouts after the last class, or you don't need a workout because you have too many choreo classes, so it's too much for your body. So yeah, it's always a little bit changing. But yeah, it's all about planning.
Yeah.
It is still about planning. Even it changes during the day sometimes. You know, client call you, oh, I cannot come, or I cannot come tomorrow. Can I come today?
Yes.
And you have to
Okay,
switch
yeah.
around. So that's like, it's all like a little bit flexible, or people show up too late for their
Yeah.
appointment because they're stuck in traffic. And that's on my side too. If I come back from a class, sometimes I'm stuck in traffic. I get not on time to do my training.
Yes.
So it's just 30 minutes left and you cannot do a training session anymore because you have to drive somewhere else.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is kind of stressful sometimes, but yeah, it works. It is just about planning. And over the years I changed my classes, which I teach before I didn't teach now anymore, because if you have too many choreo classes and you try to do hybrid training, which is a lot of volume, like a lot of different stuff, you need exercising, you need enough running and stuff, your body would just not go for it. You can do it 1 or 2 or 3 years, but after 2 years of teaching 18 classes per week, that's like more than a full-time job, because you travel to it, you travel back for it, you know, you have to prepare it. Working just burned out, so it will not work for a long time. So that's why I changed over the time a little bit what classes I would teach. I also, over the time, you can a little bit choose it or change it out and ask in other areas, can I teach more functional training where you just correct the people more and you do less on your own. So yeah, that's a little bit the trick on that journey. But yeah, sometimes you're just often tired. I mean, also from work, sometimes you have more stressful days. You come at work and I mean, I believe we all have still those days where we finally cannot make it because we are too tired and we cannot overcome the tiredness. Usually if we overcome the tiredness and we go to the gym, we're happy we did it. But there are also days you have just to accept the body is just done. It was too stressful today, or all the last weeks or the last days, or I haven't had probably holiday for a long time, and so probably you doesn't have the energy. And it's just to accept it is hard because you think you fail. You know, you think, especially if you're hired, for example, a coach, and the coach wrote you, oh, this is the planning, you have to do all of this stuff in this week, and you had a really stressful week, or you felt just energy less in the evenings and you couldn't do probably 2 sessions, you will feel shit at the end of the week because you think, I didn't do what my coach said me, and now I will not reach my goals. And that's like what we all, myself also still sometimes think too much about, that if we miss one session, like it's all wasted or something. But that's not it. It's just to find at some point the balance to not be mad at yourself if you miss one session, or if you could just not make it or didn't felt right, and then you keep going as soon as your body is ready and you find the time again. that's like the hardest part, I believe. So
I think that's really interesting actually, because we're sort of two different ends of the spectrum. So for me, because my hours are set, so I'm quite able to really rigidly plan my week.
You have the structure.
So usually if I plan it out, it doesn't really change. So like if I book in a dinner with a friend or a sports massage, it's on that day at that time, so I just go in the morning. So I guess I'm quite lucky in that respect, because I usually know what's happening that week. Sometimes a curveball might be thrown and I might have to change something, but usually it's pretty much I can fit the things in when I need to. So you've got the other end of the scale where you have to be able to flex and to move and to change your plans, even at a moment's notice, if someone calls you and says, I can't come. So so what would be your biggest tip? Because I'm sure there's lots of people out there that are the same as me, but also the same as you. What would be your biggest tip for how to kind of like keep motivated whilst your schedule is possibly ever changing? Do you know what I mean? So you've got your day planned out, you've got 2 classes, then you were going to go for a run, and then you've got a client and a class, but all of a sudden someone's late to class and class doesn't start, and then it pushes your day back, and then the client calls you up and says, I can't come. So you've now all of a sudden got a different schedule. What would be your biggest tip to how you keep motivated in that situation, how you keep on target, how you keep your training like you want to go, rather than thinking, oh, my day's changed, I can't be bothered, like what keeps you going?
It depends on sometimes it doesn't work out for me as well. Sometimes I'm so stressed because I drive a lot in my car from place to place, and then I think, okay, I have that 1 hour, and so I go very stressed sometimes still to run, even though it's my everyday, but sometimes you're just stressed through the traffic and it affects you. You have days where you're really relaxed with it, even though you are a little bit late, you think, okay, I take the run just 10 minutes shorter, but still going for it. So it can happen that you're stuck in the traffic, you don't get your training done, or you just shorten it, and instead of a 1 hour run, I would do a 30-minute run, and then I arrive stressed from a 30-minute run, stressed up to get a shower, getting down ready, making everything ready for the client, which shows up, and then the clients just send me a message like 5 minutes prior the session should start, oh, I cannot come right now, and then you're like, oh no, I could have done my run longer. You go in that cycle a little bit. It's annoying for you, but it happens. Sometimes the other person stuck in traffic, or the children get sick, or there are so many scenarios, or they have to work longer or whatever. So it just, if it happened, then for example, I took the shorter run, I'm not satisfied probably for that day, but then I just try, okay, if I have now an hour free, I'm now standing in my gym anyway, so I just try to do now my training or like a part of it, and then if I cannot take the last part of it in for today, okay, then tomorrow we try to make it all again. So it's really reaction of flexibility, and for me it was at some point, because I was usually a person running only on the daylight. I was never happy to go on the dark, also because in most places where I live we have no lights, so it's really dark. Or you run along a really main street, which is not nice at all in the evening. It was just for me to open up my mind to take the schedule longer and just find where I can run in the evening where are lights. So I take evening runs in. So I believe that's in my job at some point. If you really want to go for races and you want to get your training in, you have to open that gap. I mean, I have classes sometimes, they go until 10 p.m., which is very long. And for whatever reason, I have, like, due to my disease, I have like appointments with physiotherapists, I have appointments to osteopathists, I have like doctors, I have like a lot of going on. So a lot of appointments, they all have to fit in during the day. and somehow between my appointments with the classes, because the classes are always fixed, that's my fixed schedule, and then the personal trainings would just fit somewhere in between. All the other appointments for myself have to fit in between, so it often just happens that I would need to think differently, and okay, we have a 24-hour gym, I can probably go there for training afterwards, so I have to get myself together, even I'm tired at 10 p.m. after teaching 3 classes or something, speaking 3 hours in a row, and I just go to the gym and go there on the treadmill if it's like really winter and bad weather and crazy weather or whatever. I'm not a fan of treadmill. It's not working really well with my body, but yeah, it was just a little bit for me, that was like the game changer, because in the beginning I was stuck to this because I came from the office job. Yes, probably. I will stick to this. Okay, I don't want to ride. I cannot run anymore when it's dark. You know, that was somehow in my head. Yeah. And you should not run as a woman alone. You know. Yeah. We have that mindset as well a little bit. So it was just a changing when we had the 24-hour gym, which is in the most countries now a thing. I mean, in UK, I believe it's so as well. Yeah. So yeah, that gives you more option, even if it takes, again, a drive probably there. In best case, it's not more than 30 minutes, so it still is possible. But yeah, for me, it was just the hardest days when I had like late classes and I would still need to do any of my training. I have not done probably any of the training, neither a run, neither a workout, neither nothing. Yeah. And no choreo classes. And the next day I would have class in the morning again. Yeah. So it's really, you come late at home. So those days are tricky, but then you have another day, you have the morning starts at 10 or 11 p.m. a.m. So yeah, so you can recover there. So it's also usually not that same recovery you have, like with your fixed structure you have. Yeah. You usually go the same time at bed, you know, you wake up the same time. And that's just different because everything is so changing. So, I mean, I know a lot of people, they still go every morning up at 7 in my job. So if that works for them, but usually they don't have the very late evening classes then. So, and I had like Saturday and Sunday morning classes as well. So that was also not like in a normal job. Oh yeah, weekend sleep long. Usually weekend was the earliest classes I had on the week. So it was more like, for example, a Wednesday was usually when I had like nothing in the morning. I start at lunchtime. So, you know, you have a longer sleep then and you can take it easy on that day. Or you have like days with 2 classes only and you know, that's easy, and then you take a longer run there. So it's all about really planning and then reacting. But that's, it's really more about reacting.
That's and that's a great tip. And I think what's really interesting, and I think perhaps hopefully people listening to the podcast will appreciate that you race at elite level, but you don't have perfect conditions. No. You know, and I think sometimes, you know, perhaps social media can be misleading where people think, oh, the elite athletes must have perfect conditions, you know, wake up at this time, eat at this time, you know, where you've just given a description to show actually.
Yeah, it's just a mess.
Yeah. but you know, not everything runs as smoothly as it should, but you can still perform at a high level, even though things are not the perfect conditions, which I think is really interesting and hopefully motivating for people to hear and to listen on the podcast, because it shows that you can still come first in elite races, you can win these trophies, but you don't have the perfect conditions, you know?
Definitely.
So I think hopefully people will take some motivation from that, knowing that, you know, you can fit all of these things in, you can fit your training in. Yes, you have to be flexible. Yes, you have to adapt, and it might not be perfect. You know, you might be doing your workout at 11 at night, but that's sometimes what it takes, right? To make these things happen. You have to be able to think, okay, this isn't perfect. I don't want to be working out at 11 at night, but I have to if I want to achieve my goals. Yeah. You know, so that's actually, I think, a really interesting insight, hopefully, for people to hear that, it's not perfect. It doesn't go to plan all the time.
Yeah, and also as well, it depends on the race. I mean, in DEKAFIT, we always have pretty similar schedule right now. Who is starting at what time. But in other races, you have changing. So sometimes you have a start in the morning, you have a start in the lunchtime, you have a start in the afternoon, or in the very late evening, like sometimes at 8 in the evening.
Yeah.
And so for me, everything from lunch to the evening is fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to take whatever time there. So I'm just changing around from 11 to 12 in the evening, in the night. So for me, it's just the morning, because either I have a class in the morning or PT, but I never train before it. Because it's just my main schedule. Every evening during the week you have classes.
Yeah.
That's just normal. You have clients and classes. That's just where the main part happening in my job.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I go too hard on or too early up, like the days are going so long and it's just not working out for me personally, not working out for a long time. If I would stand up at 7 to extra take my run and in there, and I probably up until 11 until I'm back home from the last class, it's just too long. And then next day again, you know. So for me, this worked best, but it's for everybody, has to find it out in this kind of jobs.
Yeah.
Same as like I mean, I have clients myself who has like female 3 children.
Yeah.
In best case, still with the partner, so like they can just split it a little bit with the children, especially if they are like younger. So it's also all about structure. Usually, in best case, they have a fixed job, and then you can fit it around. So they have to drive the kids to this place and their place, and then the other day the husband can stay with the kids, so they can do a training. But it's always a little bit like take only necessary training in. Then usually, especially if you have like 2, 3, or 4 young children, it's really, really hard for them. So I'm always impressed how people do it with so many children. Actually, like again, when they small, if they like about like 15 or plus, you know, it's a different thing again. Still, you have to drive them at places, but it's differently for the evenings. So it is also for them, like, and then a lot goes wrong. The kid is sick again, or need to do homework, you need to help the kid, you know. So they also have to be flexible, and sometimes they have just to go up and go for a run before they start at 7 a.m. for the job, and they bring the children still to the school or whatever. So it is for those cases a lot about having a strict schedule, as strict as it is still okay and not too stressful. But also in every area, it's a little bit about flexibility to just say, okay, it is 10 p.m. Children sleeping for 2 hours already. My partner is there. I go for a run now. You know, and that's just also about how much you want it. So it's not only, I would not only call it self-discipline, it is, but self-discipline can be also in a bad way, that you punish yourself, that you feel bad if you don't do it, like I just said before. So it's a lot about like thinking differently and try to take it more flexible and a bit more relaxed when it is just a shorter run, it was just a long day. You have your children brought to bed and someone was taking a long time to fall asleep, you know, and you're still like, oh, I need to go for a run. I need to wake up at 6 again. If you just go for 20 minutes, you did something. Even if you do 20 minutes low intense, it's just it. It's always better to do just a shorter version of it than start to skip it over and over again. Skip it once, like I said, or twice, it doesn't matter. But it's just like we also tend often to, oh yeah, I skipped it last time, now it doesn't matter anymore, I skip the next one. So it's just a balance in between those ongoing mind things.
And that's definitely so true. And I think actually, you know, don't get me wrong, although I'm very lucky and I know I'm fortunate that I have got that kind of quite easy planning, there has been times in previous jobs where I, you know, have worked slightly different hours, so I've had to adjust, you know, the timing, and I think you still feel proud. So even if you've had to go out for like a shorter run, or you haven't been able to do the full session, you still think to yourself, oh, okay, well, I did something. And you still feel happy.
You don't feel too bad about skipping it completely. You put some work in, and that's okay.
And then actually, if you do go out late at night, you feel really proud of yourself. You think, you know what, it's 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. and I still went out. And actually, I think that like reinforces that motivation, that, you know, and actually makes you think, oh, next time, well, I can do that again. I can go at 10 at 10 p.m.
That was it definitely for me when when it changed for me. When I did the first time really late trainings, and I thought like, well, I felt tired before, but it worked very well when I was doing it, and at least I did something. I don't feel bad that I skipped it completely or something. Definitely 100%.
Okay, well, we will see you again very soon back in the UK,
back in Luxembourg.
So thank you as always for listening, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yes, see you. Bye.